and you know you have a certain limitation on how long you could be underwater before you run out of oxygen. It seems to me that I felt like I had 6 tanks of oxygen in January, and somehow I ran out of oxygen around the beginning of June, and realized that I needed to get out from under the water and get some air. I I was I was out of oxygen, and in this case I needed to get up to the surface. And in this case, the surface is my normal sense of being, and that can only be accomplished by being with, guess who? That person right next to me. He is my normal. He is what I would deem as my ability to breathe. Without him, I'm like in a tank of oxygen, underwater, breathing, and I can do it for, as long as the oxygen tank has oxygen in it. But once it runs out, I find myself in trouble because I can't breathe. And so, just giving you guys a little idea of how important Mark is to me, because honestly, without him, I don't even think I have a will to even live. And I understand now why couples end up like when one passes, the other one's not too far behind, because they literally can't survive without the other. Like lovebirds, in a cage. As long as they're happy together, right? And even in a place where they're kind of like imprisoned together, they survive. And wouldn't you think that this world that we live in, isn't this like a cage, that we're stuck in right now? This three-dimensional physical existence that we have. It's like a gilded cage. We're like inside this cage. And as long as I have my person, I can glide through life and live and be happy, and feel fulfilled and thrilled to be with the one that I love. But like a lovebird, if the other lovebird leaves the nest, they just can't survive without them. And I don't know anybody. If you don't have a relationship like that, I guess you wouldn't understand. But with all the things that I've been through and the things that I've been given through this relationship, whether it was things that I wanted to learn or things that I didn't, like eating my vegetables, for instance, simple things, fears that I had, simple fears that I had from my childhood, that this relationship has helped me deal with, because now I can honestly say that I eat my veggies and I like them. And that's just simple, basic things, right? And this relationship has taught me a lot about myself, about how I need to make changes in my life, how I need to allow myself to create those changes, and I'm the only one who can. With regards to relationships with other people, um, I've alluded to the fact that I've made some bad decisions, or I don't know, my ability to judge character is very skewed because I expect people to be kind as a default and to be considerate as a default. I don't do things to win people over. I try to be a good person, and sometimes I obviously fail and flop. When my feelings are hurt, I let people know. But the norm for me, my default, is to be a kind-hearted, loving person. But I'm human, and I have my limitations. Unfortunately, in this physical body that we have limitations. Just like it comes and goes, it's created and it's destroyed, unlike our spirit, or shall I say, our body's recycled like water, right? And I make mistakes along the way, and when you make mistakes, you pay for mistakes, right? Like my broken headlight and driving too long caused me my infamous accident from 2014. My lack of being able to judge correctly and unable to make good decisions has created problems for me with relationships and stuff. Not romantic relationships to say, but just friendships, right? Things that people that you put confidence in and you trust, and you want to have in your life because you think they're a beneficial gift, to you as a person, and that you can be a blessing and a gift to them. But when you realize that you're just being used and manipulated and made to feel a certain way about something, and then all of a sudden when the person that you thought was your friend says that they don't want anything more to do with you, or just stops communicating with you, then you realize that honestly there was never a friendship there at all. You just, I don't know, were you just being the one being used? Because like Mark talks about a lot, life is full of patterns and we follow patterns. And with regards to my connection with the person that brought me to this area, Now that I'm on the outs with that person, now that person is joined with another person that I knew and now is on their side, right? This person was on my side defending me, supposedly, from Mark when we were broken up and we were both lobbing things at each other and trying to hurt each other and things like that. And now that that's over, we're not lobbing things at each other. Well, the person that I knew that brought me here to this area, she can't handle that we're together. Can't handle that she's been on a witch hunt for Mark for, like I said, almost 2 decades. And I know it sounds extreme, but that's what's extreme. I don't know. And whenever a relationship like that, like with that person who brought me here, is dissolved, then they become my enemy. And the funny thing is that I saw the signs coming, because when I was in Portland about the beginning of this month or so, and I had the falling out with that individual who I mentioned in previous videos, who, honestly, I know that you watch my videos too, just like you say we watch yours. And I know that you think you didn't do anything wrong. I understand that you don't want to take responsibility for anything. I mentioned lots of things. I said that you were dishonest in your assessments, and all it is about your mental health being exposed or something, and saying that I was like on a tirade, and I was mad at you. I was mad. And when a person isn't able to speak to someone in a candid, open manner, it becomes difficult to communicate. And the words that I chose for you yesterday were out of an abundance of overstimulation and emotional frustration over the things that you said. And I don't know if you understand the impact of your videos from Saturday, that day after I had left Portland. I don't know if you understand the degree of disgusting, untruthful behavior and absolute, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was an assault on my person, on my personality. Even misgendering me, even saying that I came with a motive. I mean, it just lies. But you can say what you want and then never address the situation at all, and think that you could just say whatever and not feel like you were responsible. I take responsibility for my words. I own those words. When Mark would frustrate me to the point of an inability to get myself out of a hot situation, if we were in a disagreement, I would try to get out of the line of fire and go into a bathroom, walking, something to get away. Yesterday, you accomplished the same thing because it was heated from the moment you made your presence known through a phone call. I was the fool to answer it. I shouldn't have answered it because I should know better, understand that you don't have a capacity to take responsibility. I still question what I did that day that got you so upset. I just didn't happen to agree with you when you said everybody's eyes were on us and that, you know, misgendering and trans shaming was happening in that restaurant, because I know that you have a problem with public places. You told me only days before through a text, and I have it, that you feel uncomfortable around people. And no one's making fun of you. It's just I don't have that problem. And when you said, if this is what's gonna happen after I transition and have everything done, then I feel like offing myself. That's what you said on the way out and back to your house. And I was like, oh no, we can't go to Costco today. We can't go to Goodwill. You're angry. I mean, it started off with talking about Mac Wells, saying, you know, Mac and this and that, and upset at Mac for Mac sharing Mac's truth about transitioning and hormones. And, you know, you get upset about other people's lives. And when I see your videos, I see you're doing the same thing to someone else. It doesn't matter if it's the, you know, whatever atheist channel you watch, or whether it's your friend from California who's a recently transitioned trans woman. It doesn't matter. It's always you being violated by someone, something always taking place, and you feeling as if you're the victim. Always a victim, but never the victimizer. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work that way. If you wrong someone, you apologize. You know? I can apologize for my tirade yesterday, and apologize for going off on you. No excuse. My fault. I blew it. I put myself in that situation, and I shouldn't have. And I tried to get out, and I couldn't. But I'm human, and I make mistakes. And I do regret what I said. But I don't regret making the decision to step out of your life when I did. Because I realized that just a few moments before you were saying, Lynna, you're just always such a positive influence on me. You drew me closer to God. You did this, all these wonderful, glowing, positive, encouragements and things. You don't say the fact that I took you to a doctor's appointment. I didn't have to, but you asked me. I said sure. You still think that you're like absolutely vindicated with everything that happened to you, and you still think that you did nothing wrong. And making me feel like I'm the one being looked at the restaurant and saying that you're like this superior trans woman that no one is gonna out because you're like undetectably stealth. When I gave you glowing compliments, I was like, you have such a beautiful face. You have such, you know, uh, all these wonderful comments. And then you're just like, yeah, thanks. Mark is like, he doesn't understand because I'm the anomaly. I'm the, like, quote unquote, perfect trans woman. No one can tell me apart from any other biological female. And I thought you were a beautiful person, and I was just trying to encourage you to get out of the darkness that you seem to live in. It's like you make these voices on your YouTube channel that really do sound very dark. And just a word of advice, I don't know how many people are going to watch that stuff because it's like so distracting to listen to. But take responsibility for your actions too. And that goes for the person that brought me to this area. I mean, stop like making yourself out to be like this victim, like things were done to you. It's like, think about the damage that you've done to me, to Mark, to us as a couple, to our marriage. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to take responsibility, would it? Or do you always, both of you, feel like you have to be the victim? Do you not see the error of your ways? I know I've made mistakes. I've stated as much. I have. I'm not a person with this soft side and then this angry under shell or something that person in Portland wants to paint me as, because my default is always going to be seeking peace, seeking coexistence, loving, forgiving, and living together in harmony. I don't look for ways to cover up my angry underside. Do I get angry? Yeah, I do. Push my button one too many times. Keep me down and don't let me say anything. And yeah, I will let you know, because it's not right. And it's like, I feel like it's the only way that you'll hear me. And no one's making fun of anyone with mental conditions, illnesses, or anything of the like. It's not true. I have a big heart for people who deal with these types of things. I really do. I have a friend in New York who deals with mental illness. She gets it treated. She lives with it. She recognizes it as a thing. She knows that I'm absolutely respectful and what she goes through. I don't make fun of it. I don't, I have a heart for people with Down syndrome, people with cerebral palsy, people that deal with all kinds of different, mental illness. I used to friend a person that, before when I was a kid, I used to go to visit this guy that lived at a convalescent hospital, and he couldn't speak because he had been in a terrible accident, sat in a wheelchair. And I remember going and chatting with him all the time. We had a group of people that were special. They were called the Overcomers. And every Friday, we would go to our adopted person and go and hang out. So I do not have anything against people dealing with mental illness. It's an illness like anything else. It's something that a lot of people can't control. It's something that could be hereditary. And I don't understand it, but I don't poke fun at it. The person in Portland, they told me they were a rebel. They told me that they were a ruffian. They told me that they were a really rude, crude, mean, violent, awful human. They told me that prior to transition. How they would use and abuse people. Yeah, all that. And how transition helped them to basically castrate themselves from being violent and sexual. And that's that person that thinks they don't do anything wrong. And the person across the lake has been their friend. Whenever we're not friends, she becomes friends with that person. Yeah.
And has the same focus to ruin Mark.
And I don't know what the deal is with this person's obsession with Mark. I don't understand your obsession. I really don't. I think it's absolutely unhinged, unscripted, and in a territory that is absolutely astounding. The degree of research that you go into to try. I mean, not even 4 months ago, this person actually sent me a messenger with a link to a YouTube video that Mark did with talking about his ex-Argentinian girlfriend, Gabriela. And you really have to dig deep. You really have to go into the archives of transition radio to find something like that. And this person, when I got back together with them in the sense of a friendship, she sent me a slew of pictures of my children, a slew of links to videos. Hey, here's your daughter singing in a recital. Here's your son playing football. That's
creepy.
An obsession. It's like, I never forgot you, Lynna. I always kept you in mind. I always thought that you'd come back to me. And I'm like, um, thank you. I've done my own research because they are, you know, my offspring. But for someone else to take the time to dig in college websites, to dig around in high school websites that have nothing to do with her, even when we're not even communicating, and to have this stuff and then to share it with me is kind of weird. Just a little weird.
More than weird.
And now we find the person I went to see in Portland is now using that person as like some kind of like threat. Like, oh, my friend can prosecute you for, and if anything comes to me in violence, like as if we're violent people. Who's the brute? Who's the one who beat up girlfriends before you transition? Was it me? No. I never did that. Who's the brute who had violent rage and was an alcoholic and a drug addict? Who's the brute? Not me. That's not my character. Yet you hide within your transition this person that you think that you can keep from exposing, and the truth is maybe that's why you transition, is to save yourself from those demons that you dealt with for so many years. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. And just to let you know, I don't claim to be anything other than a spirit being living in this planet, in this prison, with you and all of humanity. And I don't know what you think about religion or existence of God or not, or whatever, witchcraft or occultism or spiritualism or any other ism out there. For me, it's a journey. For me, it's a journey that I've been exploring for my whole life, and only in the last 6 years have I really taken a deep look at occultism, spiritualism, things that were supposedly taboo because I was raised to believe in the Bible and Christianity, and to realize now that that's all a lie. It's not true for me. So I look at other things. I do. I like to look at things that would bring me enlightenment and understanding. And I know that same old is just not true. I've flipped that tire over 50 bazillion times and it comes up lacking. And I am talking about Christianity, and I am talking about Yahweh and the religions of Yahweh. So that's my own personal journey. You're on yours, I'm on mine. Everyone's on their own journey. We all have a different lesson to learn in life. As Mark talks about, this is a great university, a planet of opportunity to grow, an opportunity to die, an opportunity to resurrect oneself from the dead. It's a great opportunity that we have to learn universal lessons that will serve us as eternal beings in the realms of other dimensions in the future for purposes that we don't and can't realize in these limited and fallible and rapidly deteriorating bodies of ours. And there's no one that's going to tell me that anything that I do is going to cause me to suffer eternally for the rest of my life. I absolutely just don't agree. It's not because I'm trying to, make excuses or anything for my life, because my life really isn't that complicated. I really don't embrace a lifestyle or anything. I just live, I work, I love, I hang out, I do everything any other human being does, and it is what it is. But I just like to put these videos out there to just share my truth, share my heart, and people can make the distinguishing assumptions and make their opinions and come up with their own conclusions to everything that they hear me say. And if you find me to be truthful, then I'm going to be truthful. If you're going to find me a liar, then I'll be a liar. I can't manipulate or make you think one way or the other. All I ask is that you look at the full spectrum, what I've offered here on YouTube over the years, which is honest conversation, truthful dialogue, monologue, the ability to accept responsibility, and the desire to live in peace and harmony with everyone, and to be able to bring light to this darkened world. And although I fail at times, my heart is really to be a help to this planet and not a hindrance, to bring hope to others and not hurt. And for all those people that, well, the two people here recently that see things differently and disagree with me, I just want you to know that I'm going to continue living my life. I wanted to thank you for being in my life to teach me lessons, because we all learn one way or another, through hardship, through times of blessing, and I am grateful for every lesson in life and every person that I meet, even the person in Portland, even the person across the lake. And I wish you both well, and I just hope that we can stay out of each other's shadow. Yes?
I want the person across the lake to leave me alone. Stop trolling me. Stop doing what you're doing. Enough is enough. How many years do you have to do this? I mean, how many years do you have to do this? How many years do you have to follow me and just try to find out everything about me? It's kind of extremely creepy at this point. Go away, please. Leave my wife alone too.
I just hope that we can find a way to peacefully coexist without being in each other's way. And I hope that, you know, if you are seeking to do harm, which you are, which you have done, specifically to Mark, you know, and you know what you did. And I know what you were doing when you were saying that you were going to do it. And it's not right. It just isn't right. No one's going after you. No one's trying to hurt you. For some reason, you can't face the fact that I got back together with Mark, and it just rubs you raw for whatever reason, and I don't know why. Is it jealousy of Mark? Is it just, I don't know. I don't know. But I know that what you're doing is wrong. It was wrong to create a faux character. Remember Richard or Robert, whatever his name was? James. Remember that from what you said. I said, so why are you doing that? And, oh, Lynna, I have a rich mind.
Yeah.
A rich mind. Wow. A rich mind. That's a rich mind. That's not a rich mind.
What's the obsession with me?
I don't know. I don't know what the obsession is. I wish I knew. So, I guess that's it. So you guys have a great day, and I hope that I can bring a more positive message in the future.